triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for freedom. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on what time it is you decided that you wanted to connect to this program. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio, and I'm glad that you are connecting with me. You probably just finished listening to Rocky Stucci if it's early in the morning, or it's in the afternoon. You just finished listening to Right Now with Jim Dawes. Our goal here is to start you off from the right way, and American Pride Roasters Coffee is the way I want to do it with you today. And let's check this out with What Can Brown Do For You? What can Brown do for you? Well, it's not the brown that you're thinking about. I'm talking about Brad's Brown Bag. It's a combination of the best brown beans from Africa, Eurasia, and the Americas. Brad's Brown Bag is an unforgettably tasty blend. It's a special blend offered during American Pride Roasters factory shutdown. You have until Sunday, September 13th, before they end their annual reorganizing, restocking, and cleaning. All coffee offered and ordered through this promotion will be shipped out after the factory opens back up, which should be around September 14th, meaning that your coffee will be shipped around the 16th of September. Go to mojo50.com, click the donate button at the top, and make a donation of $25 per bag. This entitles you to a free 8-ounce bag of coffee for every additional 2 pounds you order at AmericanPrideRoasters.com. They are the official coffee of Mojo 50 Radio. Do this, and to understand this, take advantage while this limited time offer is available to you. American Pride Roasters, go there today. Yes, go there today. Go to AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Also, let's get your mind ready for what I want to talk about, which is the race to 1600. And the loser is, but you can't process that information if you're not aware of New Life Holistic, one of our other sponsors. And I want to cover this quickly before we get into the topic. Does your mind seem like it often shuts down before it even starts? Sounds like you need to detox to improve your health in body, mind, and spirit. I'd like to tell you about New Life Holistic. It is an amazing therapy process that uses neurofeedback and biofeedback for many issues that ails everyone. New Life's method and approach to health, balance, energy, and vitality is what sets it apart from anything you have experienced ever before. Call 1-833-4-BIO-LIFE and tell them Watson from Battle for Freedom had sent you. One more thing. Give them the code MOJO50 and save $50 off of your first session. The consult is free. New Life Holistic. Yes, New Life Holistic. Now you've heard the sponsors. I want to get you guys focused on what we're talking about today. If you want to interact, you can actually go to facebook.com/Mojo50 Radio. This is on Facebook. It's streaming also on YouTube. My YouTube channel is in the chat, in the description, or you can go to my website, Battle4Freedom.com, to basically get all the links you need to my social media exploits. Yes, and I said that the right way. Before we get into this whole idea of talking about what's going on with, the race to 1600, it seems like it's like now every week. I know we're in hurricane season, but the last thing the South needs is another crazy weather. And you're seeing this as they're talking about the whole idea of Hurricane Sally's dumping up to 3 feet of torrential rain on Alabama and Florida, with historic catastrophic flooding on the way after 105-mile-an-hour winds knock out power to 570,000 people. And we know this is going to get worse. So, folks, I'm hoping that you guys are praying people, but this stuff is pretty stinking crazy as you're watching the level of devastation that's hitting this country. And I think it's a sober moment of reflection of what we need to do here, and recognizing that, we don't control anything. Now, people may want to call this climate change. I'm thinking that this is actually talking about, I think this is more than anything else, it's talking about a correction on our attitudes and our ungrateful dispositions against the blessings that God has provided for us. Yes, God is a jealous God. I can share out to you a great devotional by Charles Spurgeon talking about the jealousy of God and how we should be grateful and appreciative to his kindness that he extends to us. Because if you're awake today, you better thank God. Okay? You better thank God that you're awake today. One of the other things I wanted to see on this is, and so let me get, I talked about this 2 days ago, and I Tuesday, I don't think I had enough time on this. So I want to revisit something that I started talking about. Now, I don't know if this started arguments with everyone as you sat here having this conversation. And thank you, Sarah, Lisa. Thank you, Lep. And just thank you for being part of the program this morning. I want to go back to something for a second here. And this is the Cuties thing. Defending the feminist Netflix film, and this is really interesting because of the fact that there's a lot of people who are angry about this. Now, one of the things I want to talk to you on this, and I briefly talked about this the other day, and I want to elaborate on it a little bit more quickly before going into the other topics. I want to read something that my friend had written, and I want to just sit here for a second on something here. She said, I had to watch, this to form my own opinion rather than follow the crowd. I see nothing in the movie that we don't see in almost every child beauty pageant and life in general. But for one scene, was a photo taken. People are up in arms because little girls are acting as adults. Well, that's nothing new. Why the shock? These days, girls are not raised to be little girls. They are quickly brought up to be mini women. And when those little girls become preteens, teenagers, and young ladies, they are all of a sudden expected to act properly. I believe there are many lessons to be learned in the movie. And FYI, it's rated MA, again, mature adult. So if you're upset, your daughter is watching that, then you are part of the problem. A Christian wife, mother, and American. So again, I want to go over this briefly, and here's the reason why. Because I understand, and in no way do I support the objectifying of women, nor do I support the idea of objectifying our children, boys and girls. There's so many different ways. I think that people are trying to live vicariously through the children, and it's really unfortunate to see the level of energy that's being put into people feeling like they have another life, and we watch this stuff. There's so much truth to what my friend said here in this, and I want to hear from this point. And this is where I want to be quick on this. I liken the outrage to Cuties like I liken the outrage to the 2015 decision by the Supreme Court to legalize same-sex marriage. And the reason why I say this is there are a lot of other things that we have been doing for a long time. And it's weird how we choose our moments. Am I offended by pedophilia and their attack on children? Most definitely. Because I'm trying to protect my 3 little girls, because I'm worried of video calls from people from schools that I may have not met, I may not know. I want to make certain that they're not saying things to my children that they shouldn't be, or that even other children are saying things to my children that I'm not aware of. Because understand this. Remember, many times, the pedophiles don't just go after kids. They use other kids to get other kids. So understand this, I'm bothered by it. I'm bothered by that. I'm bothered how these monsters are making our children. They're making our children, victims of this wicked, wicked devastation. That's why God is tearing down. It's not just hurricane season. He's getting ferocious on his judgment against this country and the world. But I'm thinking there's so much more that we have allowed to take place. And it's not just the beauty pageant. It's not just these movies. Look at you those of you who are living vicariously through your children. Well, my children want to do this. That my children want to actually travel all over the state, all over the city, all over the country to do sports, to do arts and all these other different things. That's not them. It's you. It's you. Think about how our greatest generations, when we think of the people who fought in World War I, World War II, when we think of the people who have brought so much innovation and change and things that make this country better, they didn't have travel league sports. They didn't have all this drama and nonsense. They were at home. They found creative things to do with their friends in the community. But we have marketed our children, and we're surprised. We've marketed our children through all these extracurricular activities, and we've given room to the monsters who are hunting them. Take your kids off of social media. That's the reason why I'm so adamant. I mean, I used to have pictures of my kids online, and then I realized that it's a meat market. It's a meat market. Well, hey, if you want to share your pictures of your kids, by all means, go ahead and do so. That's your choice. Feel free to do it. But I just think that I think we're a little bit late in the game in complaining. I think we're a little bit late in the game in complaining about this, about what they're doing. I just think we have to do this differently, and we have to do it. We have to do better. So the race to initially I wanted to make this broadcast to be about, is Donald Trump a racist? And there was a town hall, or there was some kind of thing going on ABC, which I do not like on the YouTube. You only have clips of this event, but you don't have the whole thing uninterrupted that people can watch, because again, this is from ABC, part of the major networks, who turn around and they don't always give you everything that you want to see in this topic, and I'm kind of bothered by it. And I think that we need to be better in making certain that we have the full audio, we have the full information when we run into this thing. So this gentleman I'm showing you here, this gentleman basically says along the lines of, you haven't acknowledged the race problem in this country. Black voter Trump confronts Trump over race at Philadelphia town hall and says your MAGA slogan is tone deaf. Actually, you know what? Let's do this and see if I can do this the right way. Hopefully this catches it in the audio.
It's going to be herd developed, and that's going to happen. That will all happen. But with the vaccine, I think it will go away very quickly.
We need to see, because you say again, we need to see when was that great, because that pushes us back to a time in which we cannot identify with such greatness. And I mean, you've said everything else about choking and everything else, but you have yet to address and acknowledge that there's been a race problem in America.
So if you go, well, I hope there's not a race problem. I can tell you there's none with me, because I have great respect for all races, for everybody. This country is great because of it. You'll have people choke.
So as you sit here listening to, again, you have to go back to this point where America wasn't great, because it's interesting how we have to live in the past. We have to live in the past because we act like we can't live in the future. Understand this. If you live in America and you're black and you're not succeeding, it's not the system. It is not the system. I am a high school dropout. Okay? My mom died on December 31st of my senior year. I was already living on my own. I had already moved out my house a year earlier, or less than a year earlier. My friend's family let me stay with them for the last 4 months of my junior year, and then I moved out in my pride thinking I could do this. I struggled. I had so many challenges in my life, and then my mom died December 31st at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was devastated. I dropped out of high school the next day. I started partying hard and drinking like there's no tomorrow. It took me I didn't even cry at the funeral. After hard drinking, it took me 4 years to cry. When I was finally ready to cry after that. Was it even that long? She died in 1988. I had met the first girl I was engaged to, and we were sitting at a beach. We were in Long Beach, and we were sitting in my Jeep Wrangler, and it was the first time I cried. sitting at her as we were facing the ocean, and it was the first time I had broke down and cried. It was like 1993. So it took me almost 4.5 years to cry, but I didn't. I'm sitting here. And I dropped out and I partied. I never finished school. And so many challenges I've had in my life. But if where I'm at right now, as my wife and I are sitting here trying to go through the Dave Ramsey principle plans and getting debt free, total money makeover, going to Financial Peace University, getting rid of our debt, saving up money for a down payment for a house. If we're not succeeding, it's because we continue to make poor choices. I'm going to a libertarian event coming up this month, and one of the things I want to do is I'm going to ask Joe Jorgensen if I'm given the opportunity. I've got some questions because I'm going to ask you something, and I'll share it with you guys after this thing, because I have a critical question that I have as we do on this race. No, let me just drop it right now. As I sit here and I look at Joe Jorgensen, I look at Donald Trump, I painfully look and listen to Joe Biden. Everybody talks about all the different things that the government wants to do to make life easier for American citizens, and not one candidate on every level, from the federal government, from the White House down to the city county level, not one candidate have I heard in the last 30 years say anything about what about your responsibility? What about your contribution? What about you making better decisions in your life? You don't need all those sporting events. You don't need that TV You don't need that TV subscription. You don't need to be paying $400 a month for your TV, $300 a month for a telephone, $600 a month to lease a car, and complain that you don't have anything. How about it's time that you, Joe Jorgensen, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, answer this on your race to the White House, and every other official answer this. Tell me, why aren't you asking American citizens, what is it that you're going to do? What about your response? It's not about just voting. It's not just about voting and who you want in election time. You tell me, what are you going to do to make better decisions in your life? It's not what I can make happen. It's about what you can make happen. And it starts with you making better decisions in your life. Stop spending money that you don't have and live within your means. Ridiculous. Race problem. You keep this guy's deflecting. Oh, America was never great. No. It's not that America was never great. America had its own sins, most definitely, and I will not deny that. America had some major problems. But sooner or later, we have to stop looking at the top, and we need to stop looking at other people being the source of our problems and actually start looking within. That was the only way my wife and I could actually do better. We had to realize, no, God, we're not doing great with the money that you've given us. No, God, we're not living within our means. No, God, having $100,000 in debt is not a good thing. I want to be in a house, but I have $100,000 in debt. I want to be in a house. I want to do all these other different things, but I'm not managing my money well. Tired of living from paycheck to paycheck, but I don't want to change my behavior. Come on, political candidates. If anything, the president was going to write, if there ever was a point of looking for, if there ever was a point of looking for an executive order, I would want the president to write a common sense law. It's time to start using common sense and a personal responsibility law. Crying out loud. I don't have enough money, and they shouldn't have money. You could have money too, but you chose to waste it on things that had no lasting value. Let's take from the 1% because they should have all the stuff. What? You could be 1%. Think about I don't care if it was rims. I don't care if it was extensions. I don't care if it was piercings and mohawks and meth and crack and cocaine, and it doesn't matter. You made decisions. I don't care if it was professional sports and subscriptions and box office seats and everything like that. If you had time, if you had money to do all that stuff, you had time and money to make yourself better. Man, I'm not even covering half the stuff I wanted to talk about today. Yeah, while you people out here sitting here, while you're sitting here and you're out there, you have time. You have time to do so much. Let's talk about this reality that, you know what, widespread vandalism and looting during Black Lives Matter protests will cost the insurance $2 billion after violence erupted in 146 cities in the wake of the George Floyd's death. Riots, arson, and looting took place in Minneapolis and spread to 140 cities. 6 people died in the rioting, and National Guard was called up to 21 states. Recent arrests took place in Kenosha, Wisconsin, after police shot Jacob Blake. But you know what? Again, after Jacob Blake refused to comply because he wanted to be an animal and a monster, and that's the reason why and everybody's finding all these reasons. This is amazing. All these people who are protesting, all these people who are rioting, because you have nothing better to do. Trust me, be innovative and come up with other things that you can do in the midst of not having the income that you're looking for. Reach out, network, figure out ways that you can actually make money. Because if you're sitting here waiting for the government, I'm sorry, baby, the problem's you. The problem is you if you're sitting here waiting for the government to bail you out. And oh, look, Donald Trump is bailing out the banks and the rich people. Guess what Obama did? He bailed out the big people, the big money people. Why is it when Barack Obama bailed out people, it was a smart decision of helping America move forward in the right direction? But Donald Trump, he's just helping his cronies. He's just helping his buddies. See, this race to 1600 it's a spotlight of condemnation on us when we have double standards on what's right and what's wrong in the character who actually occupies the seat in the White House. And many of you have been wishy-washy on your indignation and desire for people of substance and character when you know full well that former President Barack Obama was just as corrupt as any other official who has sat in the White House. But you chose to just allowed your black eyes and your black skin to turn around away from the black man who was corrupting the office of the presidency of the United States of America. That's my president. Well, your president was crooked as hell. And we have information of it, how he sanctioned the illegal tapping, the illegal spying against a presidential candidate. Exactly what you guys are just so happy, hippie, horny to basically talk about. Oh, yeah, Richard Nixon, he was impeached, and Donald Trump is going to be impeached. Former President Barack Obama authorized worse than what Nixon had done. He authorized worse, and a lot of you indignant you indignant individuals are choosing to be selectively silent when it comes to corruption and political offices in the history of this country. And you will be held accountable for this. But all you guys have enough time to go out and protest. You have enough time to go out and damage. Oh, yeah. And this is the part about it that kills me, because people are like, well, that's what they got insurance for. Well, guess who's going to be affected now? Half you bums who don't pay insurance, half of you who drive around without car insurance. You don't have to worry about this. Half of you bums who are waiting for the state to bail you out, or baby mama to give you money so you can support your drug habit. Those of you who don't want to work a job, but you could beat a woman who's supporting you. Yeah, you don't have to worry about insurance, because it's the woman that you're taking advantage of. It's the men that you're taking advantage of who are paying for your lifestyle. Oh, I gotta slow down here. Yes, I gotta slow down here. Yeah, so let's continue to make everybody mad. Unemployment gap between black and white workers widens to nearly double as the economic recovery lags for African Americans. In August, black unemployment was 13%, while white unemployment was 7.3%. That puts blacks' jobless rate at 1.8 times the white race, up from 1.6 in July. See, here's the thing about it. Oh, this is the golden thing, Jerry. I want you to riddle me this. Donald Trump is trying to get America back open, and it's the Democrats See, that statistic, I call BS on it, because if they're counting the black people who live in Democrat cities and Democrat states where the Democrats were shutting down any hopes of bringing back these businesses, it's not on the president of the United States of America, it's on the Democrats, and y'all keep trying to make it seem like it's Trump's fault that blacks aren't succeeding. Okay, I gotta take a break and go to a break. I'll talk to you guys on the flip side. I need to calm down. This election will be vital to the health and sustainability of our country. Our role from this day on could steer the election in either direction. Why? The way we treat one another. In John 13:35, Jesus says, "By this all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." We know that every election cycle brings out the worst in us. If there was ever a point for honesty, it is in how we act during election season. As much as we would want our candidate to win, attacking a person with contrary opinions only makes them determined to reject our point of view all the more. It may come off as ignorant from them, but we cannot claim innocence if we allow arrogance and disrespect to be the means in which we communicate with those who support the other party or other candidates. Our goal was and will never be to convert voters. Our role is to give them the information needed prior to them casting their vote. It is their choice and right of what they do with that information. Understand, more people are aware of the political corruption and hypocrisy than they wish or want to admit. So there's nothing for us to prove. Choose to be people who invoke change rather than people who irritate and strain. Dale Carnegie once wrote, "A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still." In other words, give people the room to make their own mistakes. Without seeing that they were wrong, they would be blind to see what is right. Remember, every soldier present and gone have fought for the right of every American citizen to vote their own conscience. To insult and ridicule people for exercising their liberty to vote for their candidate is to also desecrate the efforts, memories, and sacrifices made by our heroes for said liberty. Please, show respect. Our nation depends on it. Welcome back, everybody. This is Watson Bernier from Battle for Freedom of Mojo 50 Radio. My website, Battle4Freedom.com. Whew, things got a little bit hot and saucy there for a few hot sauce. Political candidates. If y'all don't remember Hillary Clinton having hot sauce in her purse. Gold, Jerry. That was gold. Yeah, I was a little bit on the hot side. I had a lot of energy before going to the break. And speaking of energy, let's go with Patriot Energy and go from there. Are your energy bills getting out of hand and you want more control of your expenses? Consider Patriot Energy, a local veteran-owned solar company. You need honesty, integrity, and clarity. These markers are essential in the ever-growing solar industry. Call 602-721-6717 for a free quote. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you, and he's from Mojo 50 Radio. And that number again, 602-721-6717. Call Patriot Energy today. So there's a lot more I want to talk about. I'm actually going to share a couple things that people have said in the timeline. Thank you for joining, Carolyn. Sarah Nichols says, and I love this. She said this 21 minutes ago. God is not happy with us. Amen, sister. A to the men. Another thing. So also thank you for joining Jen Leah Butler. Butler. I don't know why I keep thinking butter. I cannot believe it's not butter. She says, I love that you're bringing this up. From what I'm hearing from she says, my leftist friends said we're supposed to be caring for the poor, etc. What the New Testament actually said is we let the widows who are truly widows be taken care of by their families so the church can take care of the ones that really need it and let the younger widows marry so that they could be sinless. Paraphrase, obviously. Just the whole idea of, she also says, the Bible is full of personal responsibility. It's not the government's job. Yes, yes, yes. It is not the government's job. Are we to help those who can't be helped? Most definitely. But you have to understand there's a big difference between understanding those who can't be helped and those who don't want to be helped. And unfortunately, the language that happens by all candidates, it's a failure to address those who don't want to be helped. Oh, actually, you know what? One candidate. No, I'm not even going to talk about him. I'm going to leave him alone because I'm not happy with what he's done. So there's so much more I want to talk about here. And I've got a really cool, to end off this program, I have a very, very cool attitude of gratitude story I want to share with you because it's really cool. But so to keep me from going crazy, I saw this video and I wanted to share this last week. This is a guy.
Ready? Come on!
This is in New York City. So you know what, I had to show that because of the fact that one, it was going to calm me down and check out some really cool things. I wish I could do that, and I'm trying to take better care of my health so I can at least accomplish a cartwheel without breaking my back. But it's like one of those videos you had to like slow down and just to gather your thoughts and expressions as you're sitting here doing it. I love these guys who can do the parkour stuff. They are just pretty amazing. Let's make that a requirement for presidential candidates to see if you can do some parkour. If you can't even jump off the track without breaking your bones, maybe you might be too old to be running for the office of the presidency of the United States of America. Oh my goodness, too much fun. Wait. Here's someone before I get back into this. Thank you, Mitchell, for being part of this. Carrie Alexander Gamble says, "I'm a widow and take care of myself." I'm sorry. I have to be the leftist social warrior, and I'm going to basically say, Carrie. But that's what the government's for, and we're here. You can't take care of yourself, just like black people can't take care of themselves without the Democrat Party coming in and helping them, enable them to succeed in this country of systemic racism and white privilege. Carrie, I don't care what you're doing. What you're doing is wrong because you're preventing me from the government and from helping you have a better life that you could have if you just let me take over your life. Yes, that is the language that you need to hear in any political candidate. Does not give you the freedom. Don't call yourself a libertarian. And I'm not saying this is Joe Jorgensen's voice. And I'm not saying it's Donald Rainwater. These are I've been voting. Understand this. George Bush was the only Republican Party candidate that I voted for, and that was in 2004. But since 2000, I've only voted third party in the elections for the presidential seat. I've only voted libertarian or third party. So I'm going to try and meet Joe Jorgensen and the rest and ask questions. I want to interview, and it has to be beyond pot. It has to be beyond smoking weed and cannabis. It's more than that. Who cares about being stoned when we need to talk about leadership in our nation? Sorry. Let's look at this. We talked about that. Oh, this is one I thought that was really interesting and pretty hilarious. Minnesota City Council alarmed by surge in crime after voting to defund the police. Minneapolis council members who just 2 months ago moved to eliminate police department sounded the alarm during Wednesday meeting about a surge in crime seen by their constituents, and the council members pressed the police chief about the uptick in crimes, including daylight carjackings, robberies, assaults, shootings, and street racing. Residents are asking, "Where are the police?" said the council member to Jamal Al-Osman, noting that the constituents' call to the police department have gone unanswered. And so that the only public safety opinion is that they rely on MPD, and they are saying that they are nowhere to be seen. You nationally told your city and state, country and world, you don't want the police. I remember, I got to be quick on this. When I tried online dating after my divorce in 2004, actually, yes, today is actually the math 16 years ago today. I was divorced, filed the paperwork to be divorced from that relationship. And I had met someone from California, and it was really interesting how, we thought things was going to go. I almost moved to California in this relationship. I thought I was going somewhere. And this one day they just told me, just bounce, move on. So I was like, really? I spent like the last year and a half very intrigued, ready to move to California, ready to be in a relationship with you. And I got to the point, I'm just tired. I'm tired. I got tired of the games. You want to play games with me? I'm done. So it was you're like, leave? I'm not fighting. I changed my work habit. I changed my work study field in order to be ready to move to California. And this is what I get after 2 flights to California to visit this individual. So I'm like, okay, fine. Went through, I deleted all emails. I deleted all social media contacts and everything like that. 2 days later, I get a message like, oh my goodness, you just like moved on. I'm like, you told me to bounce. You told me to leave. I'm doing exactly what you wanted because I don't have time for games here. I have a child I have to raise. I have a job I have bills I have to pay. I don't have time for these stupid games. And just the same, the Minneapolis police, we're leaving. New York police officers, you don't want us around, we're leaving. This is what you wanted. I'm giving you what you want. What is with all this psychological nonsense that you don't give me what I wanted? Those of you who are complaining here, you wanted more jobs, you wanted more money. This president did everything he could, and the current administration has done everything that they can to try and help you succeed. The market was doing amazing, and putting this virus on the president, when we have a virologist who just got her Twitter account suspended when she proved that the Chinese had unleashed this on the world. She proved this, and Twitter silenced her. I know there's a lot of things about the president I just really wish, and I really wish he would change in his behavior patterns. But he's called us out from the beginning. And everybody's doing all this spin to try and make it seem like he didn't care and everything like that. I call BS on that. Y'all have been attacking this man since day one on trying to put the power back in the hands of the American people, the people up in the top, Republicans, Democrats, and Libertarians. They want the power. They want to rule over your life. They want to control this country, and then technically this company called United States, USA. And you guys want to put the people who want to control you in power. He's trying to get rid of those people who are power hungry. I want you to think about this. What if the president, I'm going to say this for later. I'm getting worked up again. Where are the police? They gave you exactly what you wanted. And now you're complaining about being given exactly what you wanted. Shame on you. They left. What do you expect was going to happen? Come on now. Let's get into another hypocrisy. Unlike the president, I don't make sexual remarks about my daughter. Michael Cohen says he has nothing to apologize for after audio revealed him laughing as a business partner leered over his teenager's Victoria's Secret shoot. See, on Tuesday, Daily Mail published audio of Cohen agreeing with a friend who drooled over photos of his then 18-year-old daughter. Upon seeing a photo of Samantha, the man exclaimed, "What the F is that? Holy blink. My God. Holy blank. She's gorgeous. What is that, a B cup, a C cup?" But the former Trump personal lawyer said to Daily Mail first, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, so you guys, you remember how y'all wanted to sit here and talk about, oh, well, Donald Trump said, oh, yeah, I'd date her, I'd marry her, whatever. And here it is, Cohen, who many of you are having orgasms that he's wanting to turn on the president, is more corrupt than the president or the allegations of the president's corruptions. But y'all want to sit here, and it's how convenient how you find all these individuals who you think are going to play to your advantage of exposing this indecency of the president. And guess what? And just when we keep thinking, here's the funny part about it. When we keep thinking that we're going to get away and exposing what other people are doing, God's like, slow your roll, because I will show people who you are if you keep playing these games. I will show you who you are if you think that you're going to get on the national stage. You're going to take to the national stage to attack other people. Be very, very careful. God's about to send a bunch of Nathans, kind of like how the King David had to be humbled when he sat there and killed Uriah the Hittite, who was married to Bathsheba, because David got horny and decided he wanted to sleep with another man's wife when he should have been at war. So he got exposed. There's a lot of Nathans showing up on the scene right now, exposing a lot of us. Let us be very careful. Let us be very wary. It doesn't mean that we can't speak out against evil. But that whole passage of Matthew chapter 7, verse 1 says, judge not, lest ye be judged. It's talking about you can have a standard, but you better make sure that you're abiding by that very same standard, that very same standard that you're trying to uphold. And if you are being hypocritical in your lifestyle, if you're being hypocritical about holiness, God's going to expose it. The whole idea of the emperor has no clothes on, that applies to every last one of us. Every day I look, and there's times, understand this. One of the most humbling things of being a Christian for me, it's not even humble. That's more than just humbling. It's painful. Is when God shows me things about myself I really don't want to address. I really don't want to think about. I really don't want to even go there. But I recognize by dealing and tackling those issues that it's called a conscience. Those of you who never had the word of God, the law of God exposed to you, Romans chapter 2, verse 15 says, those who were not given the word of God, who were not given the law of God, had the law of conscience on their heart. And we need people who listen to their conscience. As the Spirit of God is prompting us to better behavior, better moral decisions, better leadership decisions, and even better fellowship decisions. Because again, like I said, let's get back to the critical question. What are you doing better about managing the resources that you have in your life instead of expecting other people to bail you out constantly of your poor decisions? But here it is. Cohen is just as disgusting and dirty. Here's another area that we sit here, and this is what's really scary about the number of people who are about to go to this voting. 2/3 of American millennials and Gen Z don't know that 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust, according to a survey from a group pressuring Facebook to ban content denying the atrocity. New survey examines Holocaust knowledge among Americans aged 18 to 39 and found that 63% of them did not know that 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust. A third thought that 2 million or fewer were Jews were killed during the Holocaust, and 1 in 10 people surveyed said that they believe that Jewish people caused the Holocaust. And many of these people are of voting age. And many of these people are of voting age. Folks, it's barely a generation when this atrocity took place. And we're sitting here and they don't know this. They're functioning on this says a lot about the public education system. And here's your chance, folks. Because if your children, think about this, if in the year 2020, we can actually have 63% of millennials not understanding the atrocity and the damage of the Holocaust, who's to say that those 63% will even hear of the tragedies of 2020? So we're looking at potentially in the year 2100, if God still allows us to be in the 22nd century, as we enter the 22nd century, there's a possibility that even 9/11 Even 9/11 could potentially be denied by 63 to 83, if not 100% of American citizens. So we need to address the people and the system that allows a tragedy like this to take place. And sometimes, like Sam Sorbo says, homeschool your children so that they can get education the correct way. And when you see numbers like this, I'm advocating for homeschooling. Let's get into this. We got this. We got to do this quickly. Here was one I thought that was very interesting, because again, these convenient Karens that are showing up, these convenient Karens that keep showing up as we're watching all this stuff unfold. Here it is. You have another one. So crazy Karen hurls a glass bottle at the black jogger running on her block and screams, "Go back to Africa, N-word." And so the New York police shared a video Wednesday of a woman throwing a glass bottle at a black jogger and saying, "Go back to," yes, we pay cash, "go back to Africa." Now, for me, here's the thing about it. It's the timing on this. Someone was standing on a corner intentionally videotaping this. It just feels staged for me. And so a lot of you right now who are angry, who are indignant about what's going on and the racism and the ugliness of America and everything like that, many of you are, I'm going to skip this one. I'm not going to do this one here. A lot of you are angry. You're angry about some nonsense in here, and I'm really hoping that you would change and get your facts straight before you can further condemn this country and further exacerbate the misinformation about racism in this country. And it's really sad, because I think even as we come closer to the debates, as we come closer to the election, we're going to sit here and there's going to be this ridiculous amount of energy and effort focused on systemic racism, which is, it's not. Calm down, Watson. Calm down. Here's something I thought was really interesting, because this is another area where we need to be focused. And many of you may hate the president on this, but I'm actually going to say bravo. United States international image falls to a record low in the poll of 13 countries, with vast majority having no confidence in Donald Trump. Countries surveyed were Canada, Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, and UK, and Australia, Japan, and South Korea. Poll of 13,000 taken in June, July, and early August just found 15% backing the U.S. handling of coronavirus is very good or somewhat good. Germans have the least favorable views in the United States and Donald Trump. So, okay. So here's one of those things where I have to say a big fat hashtag, who cares? There was an extra word I wanted to add in that, but you know what? Children are listening. And so are Christians. And I'm a Christian, and I can't say some of the words my flesh wants to say. My thing is, who cares what these other people are thinking? See, that's my thing, is if every last one of you think that we have to have this popularity contest with the world. And you know what? And I commend Donald Trump on this. Who cares what the other world thinks about us? Because we need to be focusing on us, America first. This America First mentality means that we look in the mirror and we see what we could doing better. And it's not just in the leadership. I go back to what I said earlier about the fellowship. Every American citizen has a personal responsibility of how you are contributing in your home, in your community, and in this country. And so who cares what the other states are now? We will be held accountable. We will be held accountable for the atrocities we have committed. Where there is racism, we will be held accountable. Where there's sexism, we will be held accountable. But we will also be held accountable for the millions of babies that we have slaughtered in the womb. We will be held accountable for what we have done to the minds and the hearts and the spirits of innocent children. From sex trafficking to putting doctrines into their minds that make them question who they are. We will be held accountable. You people who are sitting here and you're carrying out your sick, twisted fantasies in your children's lives because you have accomplished nothing. So you're going to distort the reality and future of your child because you couldn't do all the different things that you wanted to. So you're going to live vicariously in a sick, twisted, hell-deserving way. Calm down. Let's move on to the next thing, because I have to clean myself of some of these topics. I feel so unclean, so unclean. Hey, this is really interesting. Federal Reserve says it will keep interest rates near zero until 2023. Praise the Lord. Top line Federal Reserve concluded its two-day policy meeting last week, the last one before the November election on Wednesday, by pledging to keep interest rates near zero until 2023, as the central bank looks to continue to support the U.S. economy recovery out of its coronavirus recession. This is what's really cool about this. And yes, I have enough time to quickly do this. Okay. And so those of you now have 3 years. You have 3 years before interest rates go back up again. So if you're not going to listen to me now. Pick up Total Moneymaker by Dave Ramsey and read that book and then get signed up for Financial Peace University so you can get out of debt and save up money so you can put yourself in a position when the interest rates comes back up, you would hopefully by then already have been living and moved into a house or into a better situation. Get out of the major cities and move out into the suburbs. Not the suburbs, just move out into the rural areas and get away even from the suburbs, as they're being populated by and infected by a lot of crazy individuals who have no desire to do what's right. Please, I'm begging you, move away from it as fast as you possibly can. Interest rates are going down. They're staying down for the next 3 years. If by 2023 you're complaining, talking about oppression in the United States of America, Lord help you, because that's going to be on you. I want time for this. Okay, so yes, I can do this. I'm going to skip that video. I really want to play that video, but I'm not going to do that one. So here it is. Remember, here it is. You have Twitter suspends the account of Chinese virologist who claims COVID-19 was developed in a Wuhan lab, as she released a report and saying that this was really crazy. The president called it. Y'all don't want to listen to him. The rest of us knew that's exactly what's going on. We didn't need this woman to risk her life to come here to tell us the truth. We knew exactly what was going on. Now, there's one more I want to share before I get to the attitude of gratitude. And this one is very, very, very interesting because of who this is. And you know what? Sometimes even a broke clock can be is right twice a day. Chris Rock, you let the pandemic come in. Chris Rock slams Democrats for focusing on Donald Trump's impeachment trial as coronavirus spread. He basically claimed that it's the Democrats' fault. He claims it's Democrat fault because when the pandemic hit, and an actor also accused both political parties of fake news, and he branded Trump a 5-year-old, and he added that he compared, you're so busy, he only talks about calling the president a 5-year-old, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, well, you started off right, Mr. Rock, when you were sitting here talking about the efforts of what the Democrats have done, because this is what we were complaining about. Y'all knew exactly what was going on with coronavirus, but y'all wanted to impeach the president. Y'all knew back in they knew back in October. You don't think that they knew? They had a bill for coronavirus all the way back in January of 2019, a full year before it started becoming national news. So don't tell me they didn't know about it. Don't tell me they weren't prepared for this. Okay, my blood is raising once again. But thank you, Mr. Right, Mr. Rock, about saying this and being right for another chance. I want to focus on something really good. Ending this program off in the right direction. Attitude of gratitude. Share my story. b4faog@gmail.com. And I'll try and share a story. So for me, I was coming off of a high a couple weekends ago when I had the blessed opportunity to officiate my second wedding. And the second one was with Jacob and Martina. Thank you very much. My first one was with Zach and Ashley. Thank you again for that opportunity. But as I was coming off of this high from this weekend, I stumbled across this beautiful story and just get all the goos and the ahs and all that stuff going on right now. I want to introduce to you this picture of this little baby, beautiful baby boy, Watson Paul Crouch. His parents are Mitch and Courtney Crouch. Watson was born 27 weeks and 6 days. This was on April 30th of this year. And he would be in the ICU for an extended period of time. And so his mother, Courtney, decided to create this group so that people all over the country could celebrate this gift of life this gift of life who God has brought into the world. And he had many struggles. He had many challenges. And I stumbled across this on the 6th of this month. And his mother wrote, today it's 9/4. The time is 1:06 a.m. And this is going to be one worth reading. It's wordy, but it means to be on posting this. But for 4 months, we have watched our tiny warrior fight, because there's a group now called Watson's Warriors. And he has been through brain bleeds, heart defects, genetic abnormalities, collapses in his airway aspirations. But you know what? And during feeds, 2 surgeries, hundreds of pokes, 4 intubations, dozens of scans, and exactly 128 days of constant discomfort and noise. And as his parents, Mitch and I, have been sitting, waiting in rooms, praying to God that the doctors got our baby breathing again. Folks, I'm sitting here, the narcissist in me, his name is Watson, and Watson's a great name. But if you get a chance, go to Watson's Warrior and watch the story of this little warrior. I love this kid. Wonderful name. But the fight, the struggle in the midst of everything that's going on in this country, get behind movements that encourage life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you, Mitch and Courtney, for allowing me to share your story. Thank you all for listening in. Brad Staggs and Daily Mojo's up next in the morning, or Politically Correct. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle4Freedom. I'm out.